I've always looked up to America in terms of why I chose to come here. Entrepreneurship was the way I wanted to go, and the best place to do that in the world, in my opinion, is still the United States, even with immigration challenges. The opportunity was there, and I saw what I could do if I could really put my heart and soul into something. I took a chance, and that's where America just came into the picture. My name is Aaron George, and I'm the CEO and founder of SupplyNow. Growing up in Dubai was very interesting. It was very similar in a lot of regards, even more so than America. Capitalism is so prevalent, and I was always inspired by entrepreneurship. My mom in particular started a chain of beauty salons. And as a woman, even back then, starting any kind of business was a big challenge. So she started as a manager, worked herself up, saved enough money, and started her own chain. And that actually inspired me just because I would help her out even when I was a kid. I wanted something that had opportunity in terms of growth. Cleveland used to be one of the richest cities in the world. Cleveland is built as a city to maintain over, I think, 1 million people. And I think bringing more people here, attracting them to actually come and build businesses and grow those local communities, that is the biggest thing that Cleveland needs right now. And that's where I see just Cleveland, the Midwest in general, as such a place that's ripe for opportunity, in my opinion. The food service industry is the second largest industry in the United States and one of the last few industries that are ripe for disruption compared to even just things like healthcare, just because a lot of food service supply even is still very traditional. The list of inefficiencies are fairly wide, and that's, I think, where we see just a lot of those costly inefficiencies being solved through technology. SupplyNow is a platform that helps solve a lot of the purchasing and logistics challenges that restaurants and food service distributors face by plugging in technology through the process. We have a very easy to use text ordering system that's powered by ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, that helps us actively manage, dispatch, and deal with the operations of our regular customers. The work that we do with restaurants absolutely has an impact on the economy. If you look at a big bulk of the US economy, it's small, medium-sized businesses. What we primarily do is help just-in-time restaurants. These are restaurants that have a lot of volatility, small footprint, high volume, require a lot of ordering outside of what distributors are regularly used to. And we do this with a fleet of drivers that we have both internal and gig economy, and we use refrigerated vans to actually get these products to restaurants at an affordable cost. In terms of just general purchasing spend, we've seen that from our savings audits and comparing prices across different vendors, we've been able to save around 10 to 15% of their spend. And in terms of time saved, we've seen at least about 5 to 8 hours per week. The savings in itself, both monetary and time, is extremely important for mom and pop shops actually making it, just because if you look at restaurant margins, very, very razor thin. Since 2021, we've hired over 25 people. We've worked with up to about 65 locations in the Northeast Ohio region. And in terms of how we've helped a lot of these restaurants, having those cost controls to be able to sort of offset not just your purchasing, but a lot of the labor costs associated has been very helpful. And the fact that we just use our tech system instead of a more complicated app is a lot easier for a lot of older operators in particular that aren't necessarily too tech savvy, but just need to get what they need in a very quick way. Once I started going through the STEM OPT process, went through some of those hurdles and set it up, that gave me 2 years, but I knew H-1B process, if corporations couldn't do it, a startup, there's no way. it was going to bed every night wondering, do I get to stay here, or what is going to happen with me moving forward? And if I look at the overall statistics, if America doesn't innovate and really make some changes around immigration and the entrepreneurship behind it, you're going to look at sort of a brain suck where it goes to a lot of the other vastly developing countries out there. They are spending more and more time, money, and effort to actually attract and bring these individuals that can vastly contribute towards the overall workforce. What can you do to make the experience for immigrant students a lot better? The H-1B system. Why is it a lottery? Why is the cap a fraction of the people that are actually applying to it? Why is the United States one of, I think, 2 developed countries in the world that doesn't have an actual formalized startup process? So I think it's more about a broader policy shift behind more flexibility in actually making changes in a shorter period of time. The possibilities with what you can do with immigration is just so real, but the fact that it's so slow moving here, and you have to literally like go into a casino at this point and gamble your life away to maybe get a shot, that isn't enough anymore, I think.